going down, everybody? Welcome back to another Altered Art tutorial. Today I want to talk about cardstock. I'm not going to be painting anything, it's going to be a short video, but today we're going to talk about cardstock because there's 3 or 4 different printing presses that Wizards uses annually or geographically depending on where you're from. I've talked about the Japanese printing press and Battle Bond cards in the past. Those cards are notoriously hard to paint because the cardstock that they use is so smooth, it's so shiny or even waxy almost, and the same is true for Ultimate Masters or any packs that they stack the cards in where they want to put a foil on top, or for Battle Bond's case, 2 cards right in a row, like the 2 partner cards. So Battle Bond's difficult, Ultimate Masters is difficult, Eternal Masters, all of those sets that come with a foil in every pack. If you're starting out painting cards, don't start with those ones. My suggestion would be to get something either sort of old, like 97, 98, 99, Mirage or Urza's Saga or Masks block or Invasion block, something around there, because they used a very robust, very tough cardstock, but it also wasn't too waxy or glossy. So that's always a great option. If you've got basic lands of that vintage, you could try just painting on them or experimenting with just like literally just swatching out paint on them to see how it sticks. And then most importantly, how it toothpicks off. I don't know if you can see the toothpick. How it toothpicks off the card. Because that's what is so tough about like the Battle Bond cards, is when you start to toothpick to clean up all your pin lines and edges and stuff, it takes all the paint right off the card. In addition to the 98, 99, 2000 era cards, you could try and get your hands on some Dominaria cards. Now, I have got, as part of a commission, a ton of rat colonies. This one's like the base coating of it is all started. You can see it's black here. The Dominaria cards are my favorite cards to paint. Whatever printing press or however they do it, this cardstock is my favorite. It's a little bit more coarse than other card stocks. I don't know, like get your hands on some Dominaria, feel what that feels like, and compare it to, for example, the Japanese stuff, anything printed in Japanese, any Battle Bond stuff, any Ultimate Master stuff, or even, I don't know if you can see, this is a C19 card. It's not quite as glossy as the Battle Bond stuff, but it is far more glossy. And the cardstock itself is a little bit weaker and doesn't stand up to the rigors of toothpicking like the Dominaria stuff does. So Dominaria stuff, again, really good to paint on. Next up is, I've got a Sphinx's Rev here. This is from I don't know what set this is. Return to Ravnica, sure. This is really good cardstock to paint on. It's a little bit glossy, but it does hold on to the paint really well, and it does let you scrape paint off really well in it as well. So, Sphinx's Rev, Return to Ravnica, I think, really good. C19 holds onto paint really well, but doesn't scrape off very well, and I've been having issues with toothpicking and then having to like repaint the pin line on because I've gouged into it too hard with a toothpick. So you do have to be gentle with these. So again, just keeping the tutorial short today. Experiment. Go out and find yourself a bunch of different cardstocks from a bunch of different languages or different vintages of Magic's past. You know what I mean? Like go out and grab some revised basics. Go out and grab some Mirage stuff, some Battle Bond stuff, just so you can see, or some Ultimate Masters if you got any commons kicking around or something like that. Grab some C19 basic lands if you've got the new C19 stuff, and you can even compare them to the C17 stuff, which was a little bit more glossy, but a lot tougher. So when you did scrape the paint off of it, like the C17 stuff holds up to a toothpick better than the C19 stuff. I don't know why that is. It must just be the glue that holds like the paper mash together. Maybe it's the kind of ink they use. I don't know. Now, the last thing I want to talk about in relation to cardstock is the actual color of the card. And what I mean by that is like the Wooburg color: white, blue, black, red, green. For whatever reason, maybe less ink, maybe white cards, the white pin line, I know this is a land, but the white pin line that surrounds the name line or the type line right here, the white pin line doesn't stand up to toothpicking very well. So you either have to be very gentle or have quite a dull toothpick, or wet your toothpick down just a little bit. And like a lot of the time you still have to touch up the pin line after you're done scraping paint off it. You'll scrape into the card, you'll scrape the printed ink off, and then you have to take some white paint with your little tiny brush and draw or paint the pin line back in. So you just have to be careful of that with white cards. And if you're painting white cards from Commander 19 or artifact cards from Commander 19 that have like that light gray pin line, you're gonna probably scrape right through it and have to redo it. I know I've done it like 3 times and I paint a ton of cards, so I'm still scraping through the pin lines on the Commander 19 stuff. So maybe not the best stuff to try and learn on. Maybe you, like I said, go back a few years and use something that was a little bit more robust, or get your hands on some Dominaria commons. So that's what I have to say today about cardstock and toothpick scraping. Be careful, wet it down, or even if you'd like, you take your paper or whatever that you paint on and just scrub the toothpick on the paper until the toothpick isn't like razor sharp, and that could maybe save you gouging in. So just experiment, be careful, and do remember, if you do screw something up, as long as you do have a small brush, everything is fixable. So don't think that you're going to ruin anything if you want to practice on a card that you actually want to play. That's the thing that I want to stress over the next few videos, is you don't have to start on basics. You don't have to start on junk commons that are just going to sit in the bottom of a box in your closet forever. You can actually take a Sphinx's Rev or an Exotic Orchard. These are cards that you want to play. Try on these cards, because nothing is really that permanent, because you can toothpick it off, you can use acetone, you can just paint over it, turn it into something else. So don't be scared to screw anything up, because you're going to, and it's fine. I hope that's helpful. I hope that you learned something. These videos are free. If you did want to contribute to the Patreon page, though, the links or wherever you pledge is somewhere in either direction of this video. Consider pledging. There are benefits both by helping the podcast and also getting preferred commission slots, discounts, or your cards featured right on the channel. So that would be great for you and for me. That's it, guys. I'll see you next week.